Hello, I am back and I'm so excited because I'm doing yet another holiday review today. And this one is definitely, I think I keep saying this in all my videos because I'm so excited about everything that I have, but this one is definitely my most highly anticipated holiday buy every single year. And I am talking about none other than the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette Volume 3. So this is the Ambient Lighting Edit. I got this last year. I wasn't really sure about it just because it was so expensive. It's $95 Canadian, $80 American at Sephora. But I do love the Hourglass products. I really particularly enjoy the ambient lighting powders, their blushes, their bronzers, really just all of their powders. So when I saw this come out, I got it. Again, I was a little bit concerned about it. But as you can see, from my palette last year, it is absolutely, completely used up. I've hit huge pan here on the face powders. I'm really getting down on the blushes as well as the bronzer. And I accidentally broke part of the highlighter, which was very sad, but it's my least favorite one on this one. So again, this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Volume 2. So this palette came out last year. And they did have one that came out 2 years ago. And to be honest, that was when I was first starting to get into the Hourglass ambient lighting powders. So I didn't get the Volume 1 palette. And that is one of my biggest makeup regrets. So now, every year during the holidays, when these come out, I make sure that I grab them because I know that I will use and absolutely love them. And even though they're expensive, for me, it's really worth it. At least based on my experience with Volume 2. So we'll see about Volume 3, but so far I'm thinking I am definitely going to be liking it. I'm going to try not to blind you because I know it's like very sparkly, even though it is very pretty rose gold. So last year we had the marble packaging. The year before there was a gold packaging, I believe, and this year it's a rose gold packaging, which is so pretty. So if we open it up, we will see what it looks like. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And you'll see that I'm already getting fingerprints on it because it is shiny, but you know what? It's so pretty, I don't even care about the fingerprints. And I'm so excited because this year I was waiting until the VIB Rouge sale to get it. Last year I didn't wait, I just bought it full price as soon as it came out because I was really worried about it selling out. But then I noticed that it was around for the sale, it was around a little bit after. So this year I was like, oh, because even though I really want it, because it's so expensive, I'm going to wait for the sale. So I had it all ready to go in my cart. I had all of my items actually in my cart. So the sale started on a Friday. So I woke up for work. I wake up pretty early, usually around like 5:36. So I woke up, like the first thing I did was check my Sephora cart because, you know, like that's the type of person I am. So I checked my cart and everything was still in stock except for this palette. So I was so upset. So I went to work and honestly, during lunch, I went over to Sephora and luckily this was the last one that my Sephora near my office, downtown Toronto, this is the last one that they had in stock. So I was really excited that I could pick this up. I did get it for 20% off, which is great, even though I didn't get to order it online, which means I have it a little bit early, which means I can do a quick review for you on it today. So, opening it up, you will notice there are 6 different powders. So this is a little bit different from last year's palette, which had only 5 powders because we had the finishing powder, Surreal Light, over here. That actually was a bit of a bigger pan, so you had more product in there. But this year, there are 6 different powders, just like the Volume 1 palette. So we have a finishing powder in Diffused Light right here. Then in the middle, we have a strobe powder. So this is one of their highlighters in Hypnotic Strobe Light. So this is right in the middle there. Then on this side here, we have another finishing powder in Dim Light. So Dim Light is typically a little bit too dark for my skin tone because I am very fair, but for sure Diffuse Light, which is the first powder, will work for my skin tone. And this is one of the criticisms that Hourglass does get with these palettes is that they are typically geared for people that are more light to medium skin tone. So unfortunately, it doesn't work for everybody. And I wish that's one thing that they would consider in future palettes is perhaps they would have one for lighter skin, one for medium skin, and one for darker skin. Okay, continuing on, we do have a bronze at the bottom there. So this is Luminous Bronze in light. Then in the middle, we have a blush, Surreal Halo. And we have another blush in Pure Effect. So we have like a mauve blush and a pink blush, which is really nice. I love their blushes. I will definitely do close-up swatches on my arms so you guys can see all of the colors. I did break into it a little bit early today, so I am wearing this on my face today. So I can tell you that I do really, really like it. It's the exact same formula as the regular ambient lighting powders. So I used diffused light all over my face. And then I went for the mauve blush, which one is it? Surreal Halo. So I went for this blush today. And then I had the bronzer and I used the highlighter. So last year, that's the only thing I would say is that I didn't love the highlighter. I found that it was a little bit sparkly, and I prefer my highlighters to be more shimmering, like glow from within, not like a super big sparkly streak on my face. So that's the only thing I really didn't like about last year's palette, but I am happy to report that even though there is a little bit of glitter still and a little bit of sparkle in this highlighter, it is a little bit less sparkly than last year. It's something that I definitely like. I'm wearing it today. I think it's really, really pretty. I will continue to wear it. So thinking about this palette, even though it is $95, I personally love it because I can take it traveling. I travel a lot, so being able to bring one palette for my entire face is really helpful. So I can use it for blush, I can use it for bronzer, highlighter, face powder, everything. All I really need to bring is my foundation, like in my primer and a concealer, and then I'm good to go with this as well as whatever I'm wearing on my eyes. So I really, really like that. It's super convenient. Even though it's $95, just the quality is amazing when it comes to the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders. I don't know if you've ever used them. If you haven't, I know they're expensive, but they do have like the mini sizes now that you can buy on that aisle before you're going to the cash register in Sephora. And if you try out the mini size, you'll notice that honestly, even though it doesn't look like you have much on your skin, it makes a huge difference. It really just smooths everything out. It blurs everything. It makes your skin look luminous and radiant. It's really, really pretty. So for that reason, I would say that these holiday powders are a hit. Volume 3 is the same exact formula as the other volume, Volume 2. I'm assuming is Volume 1, but it's their regular formula. Really, really nice. If you have the budget for it, I would say definitely go for it. If not, no worries. Like there's lots of other options that you can get for Hourglass if you are interested in some of those ambient lighting products. Like I said, they do have the minis, so you can definitely try those out. But if you have the budget for it, you like the ambient Hourglass lighting, you know, I wouldn't normally recommend such an expensive palette, but in this case, I would say it is worth it. This is a hit. I really, really like it. Let's get into some of the swatches. So I'm going to swatch the Volume 3 first so you can see all of the colors, and then I'm going to swatch it against Volume 2 so you can see some of the differences. Okay, so here is a close-up of the product. Again, we have the finishing powder here, which is diffused light. We have the strobing powder, hypnotic strobe light, another finishing powder, dim light. We have the bronzer, luminous bronze light, the blush, Surreal Halo, and the other blush, Pure Effect. Now I'm going to do some swatches for you on my arm. So as you can see, the swatches are pretty subtle on my arm, and that's how they're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be like bam in your face pigment. They're supposed to be very soft, very smoothing on the skin. Okay, so we have the first swatch. It's right here. You might not be able to see it very well, but this is the finishing powder diffuse light. This matches my skin tone best personally. We have the strobing powder here, hypnotic strobe light. We have the finishing powder dim light, which is a bit dark for me on the face. We also have the bronzer, luminous bronze light, the blush, Surreal Halo, so that's the more mauve blush. And then we have the pinky blush here, which is Pure Effect. Let me swatch it against what we had in the palette last year, just so you can compare Volume 2 to Volume 3. So in terms of comparison swatches from Volume 3 to Volume 2, we have our first swatch right here, which again, you might not be able to see very well. I've tried to keep them all in the same family. So let's do finishing powders first. So from Volume 2, we have diffused light. Then here, this is, from volume 3, we have Diffused Light. Then from volume 2, last year's palette, we have Surreal Light. And then from this year's palette, volume 3, we also have Dim Light. So Dim Light and Diffused Light are permanent in the collection, but volume 2's Surreal Light is not. You'll see that it's definitely sort of in between Diffused Light and Dim Light. Personally, I like volume 3 a little bit better, just because for me, being very fair, I prefer to have 2 different shades, one for fair skin tones and one for more medium skin tones, because it'll match more people. So I really like that they have 2 finishing powders this year. Then I have the strobing powders. So here you see volume 3, we have Hypnotic Strobe Light, volume 2, Surreal Strobe Light. So this year, volume 3 here, volume 2 here. So you can see a bit of a difference in color. So volume 3 is definitely a little bit lighter. I also noticed that it's slightly less glittery. Now on to bronzers. We have volume 3, which is Luminous Bronze Light, volume 2, which is Surreal Bronze Light. Volume 3, this year's palette, you can see is definitely a little bit darker than last year's. Then on to blushes. Both palettes have 2 different blushes, which is nice because I love blushes. So comparing sort of the 2 darker ones and then the 2 pinky ones, we have this year's palette, volume 3, which is Surreal Halo, versus last year's Surreal Glow. And you'll see that this year's is much more mauve-y tone. And then again, with this year, we have the more pinky blushes, so Pure Effect versus last year's volume 2, Surreal Effect. You'll also see that this year's is a lot more cool, or it's a little bit more warmer, and last year's is cooler. And that's it for this video. I hope you really liked it. If you did pick up volume 3, let me know down in the comments. Let me know how you're liking it. If you have tried the Hourglass Ambient lighting powders before, again, let me know how you like them. I personally love them. As I said before, I was too excited. I couldn't even save it for my outro, but you know, in my opinion, this is a hit. This is something that I really like, something that I picked up during the sale, and if you can get your hands on it, especially during the 20% off sale, I would recommend it. Okay, bye!